I don't have a clever hook to start this video with, so I'm gonna do this instead. Over the 7 years I've been working, I would consider my jobs pretty decent. Not fantastic, but not terrible. My first job ever was in 2019 as a car photographer, which was pretty chill. It's exactly what it sounds like. Take pictures of cars, upload them to a website, not bad at all. And since then, I've worked in a warehouse, I had a couple jobs on my college campus here and there, and did some video editing work for a while. But there's one that really stands out from the rest that was genuinely awful. It was December 2022. I was halfway through college, completely broke, and desperate to find a job. I found this temp agency near me, a place you go to find jobs that only last a short amount of time, you know, temporary work. And since winter break was coming up, that sounded perfect. One short interview later, I was assigned to work at a cold storage facility for 2 weeks, which didn't sound that bad, honestly. I had worked in a warehouse the previous summer, and this sounded like the same thing, but, you know, just colder. First day on the job, I'm bundled up with multiple layers. Jacket, work boots, gloves, you name it. Once I get out there, it is way colder than I was expecting, like easily under 30. By the way, I'm American, so here's that in Celsius. And there's this giant area protected by an automatic door, which is the actual storage part, and that was like 30 below zero. You were not allowed to go in there unless you were driving a forklift. They said if you stood in there for more than 10 minutes, even with a good jacket on, that you would get hypothermia and likely freeze to death. So that's a wonderful thought to have on your first day. Anyways, I'm working in this area right outside of that storage part, a separate part of the building where trucks unload frozen chicken. And my job was to take the frozen boxes off of the truck and put them onto a pallet with these plastic sheets, or slats, in between each layer so that they wouldn't freeze together while being stored. Sounds simple, and yeah, the work itself was simple, but that does not mean it was easy. We worked in pairs, stacking boxes in an alternating rhythm until the stack was high enough to send it to the forklift guy. The boxes probably weighed about 20 or 30 pounds each, and we were lifting them over our heads a lot. This place also smelled like, I don't know how many of you have smelled expired chicken before. It can be a super nauseating scent, and this place reeked of it. This was a smell that stays on you, gets in your clothes, your car, everything. So while I'm stacking boxes, I'm constantly having to avoid chicken juice getting on my face and eyes. A lot of the boxes were half melted when they arrived at the facility, so you can imagine how messy the floors looked on an average day. It was gross, dude. And with the nature of handling raw chicken, I was obsessively washing my hands to avoid catching salmonella. It was the holiday season, and I was not about to get sick right before Christmas. Halfway through the first day, the dude they paired me with got into some verbal shouting match with the manager and just ended up quitting right in front of all of us. So that was great for team morale. A lot of the people who worked there just seemed angry all the time. And honestly, I'm not sure if anyone working there actually, you know, wanted to work there. It kind of seemed like a job that wouldn't be most people's first pick. But by far, the worst part about this place that I just wasn't really told about was that even though the job was listed for 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., I don't think we left at 4 p.m. a single day, like not even close. We were super understaffed. It was me and 6 other people when it really should have been 12. And on an average day, we would leave around 6 p.m., sometimes later if we weren't working fast enough. We literally had to stay and throw frozen chicken boxes around until every single truck was empty. And sometimes trucks would arrive really late, right as we were about to leave for the day. Do you know how genuinely disheartening it is to think you have your work done on time and you're looking forward to maybe getting some dinner and watching a movie with your family or something, and your boss is like,
"No, actually, you're all staying for another 2 hours, sorry."
There was also a heated office area where like all the managers and other important people worked, which had a giant window to our area. So we're working our butts off in the cold, and all these people perfectly warm and on their computers in their own little fantasy land, pretending like they don't see us or just right there. I haven't even mentioned the pay for all that work. It was like $11 an hour, and we got a little extra for each pallet we finished, but at most we were maybe making $12 an hour. And for what they were demanding, that seemed really low. Like my last warehouse job I had worked at this time was $17 an hour, and we weren't even in the cold. They should be charging us like $5 an hour extra just for being cold all the time. Regardless of all of that, I got through my first week somehow. Then they had the audacity to make us all come in on Christmas Eve, which was on a Saturday, and make us work like 6 hours. Didn't even prepare us. They just told me while I was working on Friday.
Yeah, you're legally required per your work contract to come in on weekends if we need the work.
The whole situation was just really frustrating, to say the least. It seemed like a job that was designed to break you. I mean, I was in a group of like 5 new people that started on the exact same day as me, and only me and one other guy made it to the end. That is 40% of our group made it to the end. I don't think any of us actually knew the kind of work we were getting ourselves into. I remember as I was walking out of the building on my last day, the hiring manager lady that worked there flagged me down in the parking lot and was just like, "Hey, thanks for all your hard work. If you need work in the future, just let us know." And I smiled and said something like, "Sure, yeah, I'll keep that in mind." All the while I was thinking to myself, you are never going to see me again, buddy. It did give me an incredible sense of drive to make sure I don't end up in a situation where I have to work a job like that, because there are tons of people doing this exact same job right now, and I do have huge respect for those that can tough it out. I'm just glad it was a temporary job for my sake. So stay in school, study hard. I hope none of you have to experience something like this in your life. I would not wish that upon my worst enemy, except maybe for Jerry. Jerry can gladly go work there.
Hey!
On an unrelated note, I do live stream on Twitch now, which I've been doing a lot more of lately. So if you want to see a little bit of gaming content from yours truly, then go check that out. I've also got some new merch on the way, but that's all I got for now.